Welcome to NFL World, where NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And Thursday Night Football consists of the New York Football Giants against the San Francisco 49ers. Yet, we heard this earlier in the week that Saquon Barkley's ankle injury was an ordinary ankle injury and he was going to only miss about 3 weeks. But Brian Daboll, I don't know if he's doing sportsmanship reasons or if he's doing it because he actually believes Saquon can go, is he has not ruled out Saquon Barkley for the game against the Niners. Now, again, is the sportsmanship. He coached under Bill Belichick for a number of years, and then he went to Buffalo as the offensive coordinator. So it's not impossible, but the way Saquon had to get carried off the field on Sunday means more than likely Saquon ain't playing. Meaning it's the Daniel Jones, Darren Waller show, if they can even do that. Because San Francisco is a good football team. And if I'm San Francisco, I can't wait. Because I saw what Dallas did, and I believe we have a better defense than that. So, if I believe we are a better defense than that, we can't wait. We're going to get like 10 sacks against the Giants. Because all we have to do is prevent Daniel Jones from running. That's all we got to do. And which Arizona did for a half. We can do that, and we can do it for probably 8 quarters. So I don't know what Brian Daboll is trying to prove in this situation, but as of now, Saquon Barkley has not been ruled out. Next up, you got the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, after the Nick Chubb injury, they had put him on IR, ending his season. They went and started to look around. They called the Rams about Cam Akers. Didn't go anywhere. They started talking to some free agents, some former and friendly faces. And they decided to bring back Kareem Hunt, who was Nick Chubb's backup a year ago, and who knows the system, knows the running back coach. It's not a jump for him, and he, within a week, will be able to play. I think this is a great decision. Bring him back after 2 weeks. Let's see what happens. Now, it's a tough matchup, but Kareem also was the he was the leading rusher in the NFL before in his rookie year. So it's not impossible. You have a very capable runner. But at this position in time, you needed a guy. And Kareem was probably the best available, and you chose to go that route. So Kareem Hunt back with the Cleveland Browns. Next item, Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson is out with a year for the year with the torn fibula. After the game on Monday night, it was announced that Thompson had suffered an ankle injury. There was no extent of what the ankle injury was. What ended up happening is he fractured his fibula. He went to the doctor, which everyone anticipated, okay, his season might be over, it might not be over, we don't exactly know. This morning, Frank Reich announced to the media that Thompson had underwent surgery on his fibula and is out for the year, more than likely out for the year. So you lose a good linebacker in Carolina. But if you're looking at Carolina, this is a rebuild anyway. I know teams don't want to some teams don't want to call it a rebuild. They want to say it's a reload, a recharge, or whatever. It's or development or whatever. They want to use those terms, but it's the same thing. Now, I'm intrigued to see what the Panthers do because Thompson was their best linebacker, great in space and also a good tackler. So I can't wait to see what happens. Next up, let me see if I can find it. I want to bring this up, but oh yeah. So Boomer Esiason, along with working for NFL Today on CBS, has his own show, his own radio show in New York, and he brought up that the Jets should look for a quarterback, thinking that the Jets should pursue a quarterback. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he said to pursue Carson Wentz. Yes, he did. He said, right now there's no choice for the Jets on the roster. Boomer Esiason said on his show, all of us over there at NFL Today, everyone's tied into something. Everyone has an opinion. And most of the guys think Carson Wentz would be the answer because you wouldn't have to give up anything. And I understand that Wentz has a perception about him, but Frank Reich did not want to cut Carson Wentz in Indianapolis. He didn't want. The owner did because the owner overreacted to 2 losses at the end of the season. Wentz is not playing for a reason, but he also is not going to be the guy who's just going to be as bad as Zach Wilson. Now, I don't disagree with that, but I think there is something we have forgot about Carson Wentz. He was really bad in Washington. Okay, he was really bad. He played terrible in Washington to the point of they put Taylor Heineke in the game, and then they put Sam Howell in the game. They would never have done that or even considered doing that if Carson Wentz was a capable quarterback and they had a chance to win it and be in the playoffs. They would have never have done it. So that means they don't feel comfortable with Carson Wentz. The Colts struggled with Wentz. The guy, all Colts fans were saying like this guy can be either really good or really bad. He doesn't want to give up on a play. Sometimes you gotta be willing to just take what the defense gives you, and Carson Wentz was not willing to do that. One of the things that Carson Wentz struggled, I think, with more or less, if I can remember this correctly, was they played a game in I think it was New England, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think they played New England, and Wentz had like 4 sneaks in that game. He didn't know what else to do. And they won the game, but they had 4 sneaks in the game. That's something that's interesting and a interesting tactic nonetheless. But Wentz was not a capable guy. If you would have gone to the playoffs, this would have been the idea as a starter, which is the reason why Carson Wentz is no longer in Indianapolis, it went to Washington, and it didn't work out there. But I think also if you're the Jets, what choice do you have? You got Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle, and that is it. If you really feel confident that this team could get to the playoffs, because you have that talented of a roster, maybe you do make that call. Maybe you do make the call to Carson Wentz or to someone else that you say, okay, we just need you to survive, make a couple throws, and our team can take care of the rest. We got Breece Hall, we got Dalvin Cook, we got a great defense, we got Garrett Wilson, we got Allen Lazard. We have a good defense. Our offensive line is pitiful, but besides that, we're all set. Which, by the way, no one in the media has mentioned how bad their offensive line looked the last 2 weeks. No one. The play that got Aaron Rodgers hurt, Leonard Floyd runs free, basically. Dwayne Brown does a chop block, which he's supposed to do on the play. But then no one, like, the ball's not out of Aaron's hand. So that's a disaster. But it wasn't like they were doing much better anyway. He attempted one pass, and that was it, because he had gotten sacked the time before, or about to get sacked the time before. Then you play Dallas. That's not an easy matchup, don't get me wrong. But you gave up 3 sacks there, and you probably could have given up more if Zach Wilson wasn't running for his life. The question is going to be New England. How does New England play? That's my dictation, I think, from it, is if New England can get consistent pressure on Zach Wilson, which they have in the past, that's gonna be whether or not, okay, we can or we can't. Because Zach Wilson, he said what he was supposed to say in the media on after the game. He said, "Yeah, I'm seeing the game better. I'm seeing the game clearer. I see the field better." Okay, but at the end of the day, you lost, you threw 3 picks, and you lost by 20. And they obviously didn't trust you throwing the football until they had no choice. Because they obviously hadn't trusted you against Buffalo, and you still threw an interception directly to Matt Milano. They started throwing the ball a lot. They didn't give Breece Hall his touches or Dalvin Cook his touches because the running back led them in rushing. But when he did throw it, beside the one, discount the one that Malik Hooker intercepted because it was open. Malik Hooker wasn't even supposed to be there. But because the quarterback does not look away the safety, that's how the safety gets over. Because he had to cover the safety had to cover a lot of ground. But then if you look at the interception to Javon Curse. Javon Curse is they Zach Wilson's on the move to his right side after avoiding a sack, and he just fires it. And Javon Curse is just right there. Just turns his hands, it's right there. And then you had the interception to Trayvon Diggs, which I don't know where he's throwing it on that play. I have no idea. I still don't know. Was he trying to get it to the guy closest to Diggs, or was he just trying to throw the ball away? I have no idea what he was doing. But don't blame him on that second interception. That was not him in terms of the route was open. If you look away the safety, it's open. That's the only thing he didn't do. But they obviously feel confident that he can get the ball to these areas. It's just they don't feel confident that he can make the throw without like I think they feel like if there was 10 throws and that throw they had to make 10 times out of 10, they feel like you probably can make that throw 2 times out of 10. So that's the reason why they're saying, "Don't throw it." That's what I feel like they're trying to say to him. Not in as many words, but that's what they feel like. They offensive line does not look good, which the media, other than Mike Greenberg, has said that offensive line does not look good. Greenberg's the only guy who says that offensive line is terrible. They're terrible. Everyone else is saying it's not that bad. They haven't played well a lot together. And Mike Greenberg is like, no, they're bad. At this juncture of the season, they're bad. Maybe they'll get better. Maybe they won't. But at this juncture, they're bad, which no one else has said. So if you're Zach Wilson, or if you're the Jets, should you get somebody? Yes. Yes, you should. I think they were on a short week. They didn't want to, but they should. Gotta bring somebody in. Someone that can be a professional. Also, if you do feel confident Aaron Rodgers is going to be back, do you want to give yourself the best chance, which might be Carson Wentz or Nick Foles or something? Yeah, you do. So maybe give them a call. And finally, our game previews. I've first game we're gonna do is the Giants and the 49ers. The Niners are favored by 10. I wrote in the description, like I did last week, my predictions I'm gonna see. Alright. So this is up for a little bit of depiction because if Saquon does play, this score might be the way I have it. Otherwise, it might be worse. But right now, I have the 49ers winning 31-14. They covered the spread. I just don't see Daniel Jones being able to do much of anything. So the Niners win 31-14. Next up, we have the Falcons and Lions. I see the Lions, who have a 3.5 point favorite. I see them bouncing back. I like what Atlanta's doing. They have a very similar system to Baltimore, which is let's have two running backs really be explosive. And when we get Cordell Patterson back, we're going to have three guys that are going to be really explosive. I like what they're doing with Desmond Ridder. I like what they're doing with Bijan Robinson. I like what they have going with these backs, what they are doing. I wish they would get Drake London and Kyle Pitts more involved, but I like what they're doing. It works for them. However, I just see Detroit. They play really hard, and it's a close game. Like I said early in the year, Detroit's going to win all of these close games. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I will make note, is most likely going to miss the remainder of the year with a torn pec. But I don't think that changes the fact I think the Lions win 24-21. Next up, we have the Bills and the Commanders. The Commanders are getting plus 6.5. The way the Bills played in week 2 after the terrible Jets game, I think they win this game. I'm looking at Washington, and as a result of the two teams that they faced, I don't know about them yet. I think they're pretty good on defense. Offense, I think with Eric Bieniemy, they've gotten better, but I still think they're a year away before they really can go where they want to go. So I have the Bills winning 31-20 because I think that defense is going to get after Josh Allen. But I think if Josh Allen makes smart decisions, the Bills win. Next up, Colts and Ravens. Now, the Ravens are favored by -8. Depending on if Anthony Richardson plays, I think this changes from 8 to something worse. The thing for Richardson is he's gotta learn how to stay healthy as much as possible. You got injured on 2 running plays. You had a concussion, and I think before you had a hamstring. This is not you can't afford to have these issues, especially as a young quarterback. You shouldn't be getting hurt like this. With saying that, the Ravens have looked really good, and I can see in like what Zay Flowers is capable of doing, the way he stretches the field. OBJ, I know he's a little banged up, but he looks to be all right. Mark Andrews looks like the Mark Andrews of old, so that's good. And so I say the Ravens win, but it's a close game. Colts cover the spread. It's 28-24 Ravens. Next up, this is probably the worst game, or the second to worst game we cover. Because the other one's just going to be a one-out assault. Okay? The Patriots and Jets. Both teams had expectation right now, and the Jets are 1-1. Patriots are 0-2 in MetLife. Jets are getting plus 2.5. I have the Patriots winning this. And I think this is going to be the game we're going to figure out if Zach Wilson can actually do something. And I think the answer is going to be a no. And I have this as a brutal game. This is not going to be a game you're going to want to watch. This is going to be like the game that they had last year, where they played and the game ended 10-3 on a walk-off punt return. This is going to be the same thing. The score is going to be a little different, but it's going to be the same thing. If you looked at that game at Pittsburgh and Cleveland on Monday night, this is going to be worse than that. Patriots will win 14-10. Next up, Bears at Chiefs. Where to go from here? Chiefs 12.5. I'm taking the Chiefs. The Bears haven't shown anything. And I need to see life from the Bears. No, they don't have to be good. They don't have to win the game. Just some life would be nice. And I think the Chiefs win 40-10. Like that's what they gotta show some life here at this point. If the Bears keep this close, it will be a miracle. And then you have something to work with. Otherwise, pack it up. Because it's been bad. Next up, we have the Cowboys and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are getting plus 12. Buda Baker was just put on IR. We'll see if Brandon Cooks plays or not. According to the Cowboys, they're going to try and get Brandon Cooks, Tyler Smith and Donovan Wilson to practice in a limited capacity on Wednesday. So let's see what happens on that front. I think this is going to be a game until it isn't. Josh Dobbs is the quarterback. He's a dual threat. He's actually, oddly enough, probably the best quarterback the Cowboys are going to face at this point in the year. I have the Cowboys winning this 31-10, only because I think the Cowboys at what point are going to take their team out. They're just not going to keep them in. They're going to take the players out, and that's going to be it. and I think Arizona has a late score, and that's what wins them. That's what gets them 10 points. And final game. Now, I'm gonna say this. I don't like it when Monday Night Football plays 2 games. I don't like it. It's annoying. But having said that, the Eagles play the Buccaneers. And that's the game we're gonna cover because we're not gonna cover Rams Cincinnati if Joe Burrow is not playing. And more likely he's not gonna play. Both these teams are 2-0. The Bucks are getting +5. I need to see something from the Eagles. If I'm the Eagles, like you can't continue to play the way you've been playing. You have to show that okay, we can at least stop the other team from scoring. The Buccaneers are 2-0. Who would have thunk without Tom Brady and with Baker Mayfield that they'd be 2-0? But they are. They play great on offense. They're not turning the ball over. Defense, they've been pretty good, and they've won 2 games. They beat Minnesota, and I think they beat Carolina. So you're in this. You have this. So I say the Eagles win, but again, it's a close game. Eagles win 31-28. But don't be surprised if Tampa finds a way to pull this off. Because I think Tampa's going to be one of those lovable stories during the year of they weren't expected to be good, and yet here they are. So let me know what games I should have covered in the comments, and what are your predictions during week 3 of the NFL season? For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hebert. Out.